Hello, Craftin' buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. Get my shirt out of there, huh? I'm trying to get zoomed in just enough. That'll have to do. So, welcome. This is Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, coming to you on Sunday, August 31st, and it is 11:50 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I found my iPad, so I have that set up. I have not unpacked all of my things from yesterday's vendor market thing. So, a couple of my quick announcements here. We're into the last moments of this sale. We work off of Mountain Time, so you have to have your order in by midnight Mountain Time. 15% off any of the 2025, 2027 in color products. You can go to my store, shop for products, look for colors, and shop the 2025, 2027. There's a boatload of stuff there. Anybody who's ordering at least $35 in product, I will gift you a full-size cloud cover ink pad. Welcome, Sala! Well, even if you can only stay for a little bit, hopefully you'll have a good time. I'm glad you're here. All right, so I'm putting that away. This mini catalog, we've got 3 more days before it goes live. So the first, second, on the third day, it'll be going live. I can't show the inside. If you're a demonstrator or if you're on my team, whether you're just a discount diva or a little community coach, or if you're a business builder, doesn't matter. We've got opportunities for everybody to get discounts and special perks for joining. But you have access to this already. So I will put that off to the side. Hopefully I won't have an avalanche. And then one other little announcement here. Excuse my reach here. I got something taped to my screen and it's popping off. Stampin' Up! Is, excuse me, Stampin' Up! Is changing the photopolymer stamp cases. We're not going to have that DVD type case anymore. They're going to be in envelopes like our dies come in. They're going to be larger, so they're going to be taller. Dies are going to have artwork on them. They're going to save a bunch of space in my studio, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. So with that, this is a preview of something that's coming out in November, but there's how much space saving we'll have. Can you imagine 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 cases, how much space that would take? So I'm looking forward to that. It'll change up a little bit of how I store my things, but I think it's going to be okay. And they're just going to have a nice little simple tab, I think, that just slides in. Maybe more like what they used to be. The current ones are a little challenging for me sometimes. So the last thing is that after the current cycle of this mini catalog and I think November online exclusives, or I think somehow November is in my head. I think it's from the online exclusives. The red rubber stamps will no longer be produced by Stampin' Up! And the markers that are typically used to color on those red rubber stamps, those clings, are going to be retired as well. So they'll be moved to a last chance list. Once they're gone, they'll be gone. They won't be producing those anymore. I don't use my markers very often, so I don't really feel like it's going to affect me a whole lot. I know there are people that use their markers a lot. So if you want certain colors that you don't have, you might want to start looking at purchasing those sooner rather than later. And then one thing that I think is a really big positive is we're not going to have to put stickers on our cling stamps anymore and try to line those up. So let's get down to business. Last night I was playing some with the Christmas Words Collage Hybrid Embossing Folder and the dies. Christmas Words Collage. That's a lot. This year is just flying by. Tomorrow is September. So we'll be in the last third. We're 2/3 of the way through the year. It's crazy. And I retired a year ago, April. And this, it's like almost a year and a half now, right? It's coming up to well, about a year and a quarter, I guess. It's just flown by. I have been so busy. A friend of mine, she's actually on my team, Linda, was talking to somebody, and I came up and they were talking about people having a hard time retiring or whatever. And she said, Nat Lori, she's rocking retirement. I'm having a blast being retired. So anyway, I don't want to be up super late because I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. So we're going to just start. I gave a sneak peek at this yesterday. So we're going to start working on this. I am doing, I think, what they call a hot dog fold. And so basically I took my 8.5 by 11. I scored it at 5.5 rather than my normal 4.25. So I'm scoring it differently. And then I cut it at 4.25. So we'll have a card. Some people like them this way, but I actually like it landscaped because that way when people set it up, it doesn't flop down, right? So let me just get my bone folder and we'll take care of that. So one other thing I did was I scored this at 4.5 and 5.5. So when I was running it through my embossing folder or my trimmer, I scored it first at 4.5 because I wanted to have an inch here, and you might be able to see a little line here. I had it scored a little, I guess I did 4, oh, let me go back here. I scored it at 4 3/8 and then 5.5. So try not to be messed up by my confusion here. Normally it would have been 4.5, but I had already done this other piece, so I had to adjust it a little bit. So we're going to do like a bookbinding. Okay. Now, what would be fun is if I had some gold ribbon, but I don't. I have, what do I have? I have blue and I have this irregular weave. And this could work. So I'm not going to glue this just yet. No, I don't think I want that on there. I don't think that looks good. So anyway, this piece I'm layering a 1 inch by 4 1/8 piece of the basic black. And then the designer series paper is 7/8 by 4. And I'm just going to go ahead and fix that on there. And I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue because if I mess up and don't get things straight, I have some wiggle room. Mama Juju, go get something to drink. Just don't drive. That was a joke. Drink whatever you want if you're home. In a safe place. I have my water and my cough drop. Okay, so there's that. So if you're familiar with a bookbinding card, it's, excuse me, it's just going to be attached here so that it opens up more like just a book. All right, and I will put a white layer in here as well. So let me just do a quick measurement here. So this will be, let me go back to here because it'll be just like this. I guess I don't really need my ruler. Yep, I can just do this. So we've got 4 1/8 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to go 4 1/8 by 4 1/4. And we'll get that all set. And I'm just going to put a little smidge of Stampin' Seal on there to hold it in place. So when I flip it open, it actually kind of looks like, welcome back. It'll actually look like it belongs there. Okay. So we're going to go like this. And when this is glued, I'll have a nice little border there. All right, so I'm just going to press that in there. All right, so pretend that's all glued. So what I was playing with yesterday while I was planning out those cards using the hybrid embossing folder is I took some of, oh, don't tell me I lost another one. I took some of the designer series paper and I fussy cut these ornaments from the back of one of the sheets. And this is the Modern Christmas. Let me get that paper again. Modern something. Yes, the Modern Christmas Specialty Designer Series paper. Part of it, it's Specialty Designer Series paper because it's got the metallic in there. So that makes it specialty paper. And what I did was I just took a piece that was 4 inches, I think probably by 5 1/4, 5. All right. And what I intended to do is make a layer. All right, so this needs to go over here. They got messed up a little bit. I wanted to make like a panel card, but then offset these a little bit so it looked a little random. Okay. And that's going to go on here. So my borders are going to be pretty narrow. So what I think I'm going to do is cut just a smidge off of each one of those so I have a little bit more space. And this could be dangerous or it could work out just fine because just a smidge is probably like 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to put my cutting blade not on the end, either the top or the bottom of my strip. I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle because then when I cut, it doesn't ruin the paper. So that one has a smidge gone. And hopefully my smidges will not be too much to make this look ridiculous. That got a little ragged. So let's take my snips. Sala, Mama Juju, what have you been working on? Yeah, cutting off those smidges are sometimes kind of dangerous, but that'll be okay. Let's just do a little smidge off of here. And this one. And I think I'm going to take my little smidge off of this side just to be different. There we go. I didn't ruin any strips. All right, so I'm going to put this back down here for a second because what we need to do then is lay these out and we're going to trim them so that hopefully they'll kind of, maybe I should just keep it congruent there so that it doesn't look wacky. What do you think? Let me get my hands out of the way. So Mama Juju, you're working on a planner? Very cool. Did you do your live tonight or do you not do it on the weekends? I don't remember if you do one every day. I don't remember. I've popped in anonymously on occasion. Usually I'm trying to get my head screwed on straight for my own, so it doesn't work out real well. I think we'll go this way. So I'm going to cut these down. It'll just be easier. And it'll probably look nicer. So I'm going to cut those down to 4. Okay, so you do one every day too. How long do yours usually last? I'm going to take my smidges off the top. So we're going to go, I think I said 4, right? Yeah, 4. We're going to take them off the tops. And how long have you been doing what you do? Your junk journals, your lives. Are you just on YouTube or do you do Facebook also? Yeah, so we have a holiday tomorrow for our Labor Day. Well, today now because it's after midnight. So our kids by me don't go to school until Tuesday, but you have your Labor Day, I think in April, right? So you've been doing lives, Mama Juju, for a year and a half. So longer than me. I've just been doing the live since January. And I was looking over the comments from last night and I saw Fifi had asked how long I've been a demonstrator. And I've been a demonstrator since 2017. So just 8 years this year. So another year and a half-ish and I'll have 10 years in. The time has gone quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. Okay, so Sally, you think your Labor Day is in May. I couldn't remember. It's come up and I don't know if it was in conversation with you or conversation with somebody else. I'm going to get this little goober off of here. That happens when I use the tip to spread the glue. So I think I'm going to start with this one. And we'll start gluing these down. Not a lot of glue. If you get glue on your fingers, you're using too much glue. So let's go ahead and put that one there. And I'm going to try to scoot it down just a little bit. There we go. Nice. I think I can put this one on now. Well, I see some of these gals that have been demonstrators for, 30 years, which to me seems like a lot. You figure Stampin' Up! Is 37 years old. They were founded in 1988. We had the 35th activities in 23. Well, everybody's got to have a little trademark. Mine is just coming on randomly really late at night. That's my MO. So I think this is going to be just a classic, simple, clean card. That needs to go down just a little maybe. I don't know that that shifted too much. But yeah, if you're having glue ooze out of the sides, it's you're using too much. I use just a very thin layer. My granddaughter used to say, and she learned it from her teacher in school, dot, 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 not a lot. And then when she's helped me do my lives, she has started squiggling the glue around a little bit more. And I'm like, well, you used to just do dot, 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 not a lot. What happened that you're doing it different? She looked at me, she's like, oh, Grandma, I'm trying to do it like you. I'm like, oh, that melted my heart. Because I squiggle it around, All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. And I had considered putting this up on dimensionals, but I'm going to keep this just flat because we're going to put these ornaments on dimensionals. And then we're going to do a little playing around with the sentiment. So that's what my granddaughter does now. She's trying to squish it around like me, but the problem is if she keeps squeezing the bottle the whole time instead of squeezing a little and then using the tip to spread it around. So she's getting it though. And I posted a picture a little while ago on my Facebook page, which is Lori's Little Bit of Crafting also. And it showed all the stamp blocks in the sink. And I just said on their caption this, because there had to have been, I don't know, 8 or more blocks in there with stamps on them. There's just a little bump here that you can't see of designer series paper that I don't want there, because that's where it got a little crazy when I was trying to cut off the smidge. Well, I'm glad we can give you company because I'm late night. I'm a night owl. So these I'm going to put some dimensionals on, but I'm not going to stick them on just yet because I'm not sure where they're going to land just yet. Oops, I got 2 packs there. All right, so let's just put some of these on. Hopefully, hopefully I won't get these too crazy. So I fussy cut these yesterday in anticipation of doing the card. And I figured you guys probably don't want to watch me fussy cut because I know it's probably a little painful. Fussy cutting is not my thing. I do it only because I have to. And I know, you know, hold your scissors and move your paper. And I can do okay. I think I'm just too picky with how I want it to turn out. All right, so there's those ornaments-ish. All right, I mean, I could do something like this too, but I don't, those are going to be too wide. So we're just going to keep it over here somewhere. Okay. So that's why I'm not putting them down, because I don't know exactly where I want them to land for sure. But there's my little trio. And because of the foiling, the metallic in there, I'm not going to put other dimension or other embellishments on here, I don't think. So with this hybrid embossing folder, if you're familiar with them, you can use it with or without the die. So when you put the die in here and run it through, you can emboss and die cut at the same time, which is awesome. This one I just ran through on the white, and I will die cut it in a minute. But when we were going through this last night, Fifi suggested using my brayer to add some color to the raised words here. And I hadn't really considered it. It just hadn't occurred to me. So we're going to try to brayer these and see if that works better. There's a little designer series paper from the embosser plates on there. Not from the plates, from the die that's in the embossing folder. But anyway, what was I going to say? I was trying the sponge dauber and rubbing that across, and I was getting more color on the background part of this than I wanted. Oh, I know what I could do. Oh, I have an idea. Anyway, I'll try something else in a minute. So let's go back to the brayer. Squirrel. I just lost my train of thought. So this is our silicone brayer. There are feet on this. So when you're parking it, when you've got ink on it, make sure you put it so that the feet are down. When you're getting ink on it, make sure the feet go up, because if you're rolling it around your ink pad, you do not want to rub this on your foam because you're going to ruin your stamp pad. All right. And you can see I'm lifting and rolling, because if you go back and forth, you're going to have part of your roller that either has lots of ink. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, my other light bulb burnt out. I forgot to go get another one. You're either going to have a section that's got lots and lots of ink, or a section that just has none. Okay, so let's give this a whirl and just see how it looks. We'll see if Fifi's suggestion worked. And I suppose I should probably put down a little something here so I don't make a big mess. Oh, see, that's still getting stuff on the background too. But when we die cut it, it might be okay. We'll work with this a little bit more, but then I just had an idea on something, so. All right, let's. All right, so I'm not sure I like it with the brayer either. All right, I'm not sure. So I'm flipping this over because I'm going to park this. And I'm going to close this so I don't make a mess. And let me get this out of the way. And I'm going to bring out my Bossy Betty. And we're going to run this through. Let me move this. And I'm going to move these just so I don't lose them. Let's bring this out. And I just need my base plate. I need the dies. I guess I'll need the shim because I'm not going to put in the embossing folder. Shim. There we go. And let me pull this die out. Let's just see how it looks. All right, so let's line this up. Yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. We'll see. I suppose I could try to do, let's see if we can get this lined up a little bit better here, this way. I don't know if that's really any better. Probably not. I'm just going to do it with the die. All right, so let's move that. Let's try to line this up again. It doesn't have to be perfect because I think I'm going to do it another way. This is going to look kind of vintage because the ink didn't go full on solid like I would have preferred. So it'll look a little vintage, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks. All right, I think that's in the right place. Or close enough. You can tell I have not run this die through this machine. I have several machines in my crafting space. So let me get this out of the way for just a minute here. And let's get rid of these pieces. That didn't cut quite all the way. I have to use my snip on that. All right. So let's, and of course, Merry Christmas is the one I would be inclined to use. So we're just gonna snip this out of here. There we go. All right. All right, so I am not really caring for this. Now we could use a white layer to kind of offset it. I did it in the gold because I thought that would kind of go with the ornaments a little bit. Or we could do the black, which might be pretty. but I am not really happy with these. So let's just scoop all these and move them out of the way. I guess I'll go over there. And I'm going to do something else. We are going to we don't have fog where I am, but it's getting cooler tonight. I am going to ink up my embossing folder and outline these words, and let's see how this works. And I could have used the brayer here too, and that might have given me a little bit more control. I'm not sure. This is more an experiment than my finished product here. The brayer is actually getting the outlines of those letters pretty good. All right. And I have some more paper here. And I'm just going to run this through my machine again. And I need this plate now. I should have put the dye in there. Silly me. Try this again. There we go. All right, let's try this one more time. All right, good thing you can't see me because I was bent in half because I put my machine on the floor. All right, so let's do this again. So some of these won't work because I didn't have a big enough piece of paper in there, but that's all right. So this got a little messy because I think my paper moved, but it's going to give us a good idea. So I think the way to do this yeah, the brayer did pick up those edges pretty nicely. So we'll do that another time. All right. But we can get the idea here. And maybe if I used black instead of the cherry cobbler, it might work better too. I don't know. And these I'm just going to rinse off, and they're going to be fine. So you can see all the color that's still on here. I don't know if you've done this to embossing folders before, but all we have to do is rinse them with water. Oh, and I was telling you, sorry, this is taking me a little bit because there's a lot of things in my sink. I was starting to explain that I posted a picture on my Facebook page of my sink because there's just a ton of blocks in there with stamps on them. So here it is, just rinsed right underwater. So it comes out really clean. All right, so I'm just going to set that back over there and we're going to move on. And we'll just pretend that this looks exactly how I want it to look. My fingers are still a little wet. All right. But I asked people to just caption this because my sink is just filled with stamps and blocks. So I think this, let's just do the Merry Christmas because I have the gold. So I think maybe black would actually look better, but I'm not going to redo it. All right, so I think that would work. So I would say do the brayer on the hybrid embossing folder, put the die on it, put your paper on it. Oh, you know something else I didn't try? That might even be better. Oh, we're going to have to play with that too. Let me just get the die once. If this will be another experiment. What if we ink up our die? And I'm just going to ink up a little section and I'll run it through the machine quick. So if we just ink up the edges of the die, maybe that's not going to work, but we'll see. We'll see. Or is Merry Christmas over here? Nope, Merry Christmas is right there. So that might not work either. So let me go run this through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Hold tight. I'm getting there. Give me a minute. All right, so putting the die in it only outlined, well, that makes sense. It didn't outline all the letters, of course. It only outlined the end. So use the brayer. Yeah, it's not going to show very much. You're smarter than me. You predicted better. But that could work for like an outline piece. You know, if you were just going to do something like that in a different color maybe. I don't know. So anyway, we played. It'll work out. So I would say use the brayer on the embossing folder, put the die on there with some paper, and run it through, and you should have a pretty nice, sentiment from that. So we could also just do some other random sentiment rather than using this embossing folder. But for purposes of today's video, we're going to pretend that that's gorgeous. Okay? And this can go back over here. All right. Ooh, I am really inky. See if I can get some of this cleaned up. I don't want to track on other cards. All right, so that'll work for tonight actually. And I think that if I had my choice, I will probably use a regular sentiment. You like that, Mama Juju? It gives it kind of a modern vintage vibe, right? Maybe. All right. So, if I get, I'm waiting for my other ribbons. Well, I'm glad that it looks good from your end. I mean, on camera it does look all right. It's just not as clean as I wanted it to be, but I think it's just because the paper shifted when I was playing around with the die and the folder. So I think this would turn out really, really quite nicely. And then if I had, you know, even this could work. I didn't like it here because I didn't really like it covering up the designer series paper there. But let's see if I can make a little bow here and how that might look. This is that irregular weave. So in this instance, it might look more like lace than it did on our previous use of it. Now this is a little harder to work with to get it sized how you want it. It's almost like a plasticky type material. I wonder if it says on here. "100% polyester," so it is plastic. So let's just go with this, and we'll just see how this looks. And if we don't like it, we just don't glue it on there. So this could even go, you know, if I made it smaller, if I started out with a smaller bow, you know, that could go on top of one of the ornaments. Let's see if it'll work with my bow maker. And I'll do a smaller version. I think this might be much better. There we go. Oh, that looks really cute. Who knew? Sala, is your daughter up and getting herself ready for school? Or does she have time to wake up? So I kind of like that with the little bow on there, actually. Not this one so much. That one doesn't thrill me, so let's do another one here. We'll make it prettier. There, and I can hang on to this too for another card. Because I think 2 bows would be just a little much. But depending on how I laid these out, I like the gold one in the middle. It kind of balances things. All right, well, at least we got through one card while you were here, Sala. All right, so I think I'll take a look with that bow, like after I've slept on it maybe, and we'll see what I think. All right, so that's our first card. A lot of playing around, a lot of experimentation, and now I just... There we go. All right, so some experimentation, but I think in the end it turned out all right. And I will put like that layer on there just to kind of border it. I don't know if you can see that, but just to border it a little bit with the metallic. All right. So let's move that over there. Let me get rid of this because I'm done with that. All right. And let's go to our next card. So I am again using this piece of paper. So I've got my card base. So I've got 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4 1/4. We can go ahead and burnish that. I like them to kind of sit pretty flat for me while I work. And then this layer I did, now this is just off a little bit, So I'm going to put the longer side on the front so that they can't see that edge doesn't quite match. So this piece is the same size as a front. So for us, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right. What I want to do is, I didn't order the whole bundle or suite for this paper, this modern Christmas paper, but we had some gold hoops several years ago, and I still have 2, 4, 6, 7 of them left. I had a couple of packages. But the sample that we've got with Stampin' Up! Shows the hoops, and they appear to be bigger. So these are 2 1/4 inch hoops. It looks like those might be maybe even 3-inch hoops. It's hard to tell from the pictures I have. But what I wanted to do is I could either punch an oval here, but then it's not going to be in the middle. Oh, we could go this way, but here I can't get it to the middle of the card. All right. Or we could do, even the punch here is not gonna, I can't get it in quite far enough. So I think I'm gonna pull out my stylish shapes. We'll do the stylish shapes. And, well, you know what we could do? I was gonna cut a hole in this, but I could just put a black circle on there. Now we're gonna cut out a hole. Why not? And we're gonna go, well, it can't be bigger than this. So we'd have to go pretty small. So if I did the black, I thought I had another piece of black over here. Let's just see how this looks. All right, I'm gonna scoop that out of here. Let's see if I've got this centered. So I don't. Let's see if I've got 4 1/4. I want 2 1/8. So the center is going to be about there. Let me try to cut this out. I'll be right back. All right. So this is going to go around here. This is going to go here. And I need more of the designer series paper that has trees on it. Hopefully I've got the right paper. Otherwise, this is just not going to turn out. There we go. Fussy cutting, here I come. So let's do a little bit of this. Now this side I'm cutting like right up to the edge just because of that sketchy tree that's behind it. And then I know this doesn't have, I'm missing a little bit off of here, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to layer these other trees over it. All right. right, so that'll go there. Let's fussy cut out these. Stella, does your daughter get to walk to school? Oh, you need to get going. All right. So sorry. Well, enjoy your live. Hope it goes well for you. And we'll catch up again next time. Thanks for stopping by. So I'm not sure how this will turn out. It's cute with the sample that I have from Stampin' Up. I did order 2 days ago the rest of the things that go with this paper. I didn't think I needed them, but now that I've started working with this paper, I've kind of changed my mind. I need the rest of the things because they look like they are going to work really well together. I don't know why I missed it with my previous order. Almost done. All right, so. Oh, well, that's nice. Sally lives right across the street from the school. That's kind of how I was when I was growing up. It was just across the street at the end of the opposite end of our block. So it was close to go to school. My kids were never that close to their schools. So this will kind of go here. I'm going to put this one over here. So let's put a dimensional on that. And I'm going to tuck that under there because I cut that end off. But I also have to work with that hoop. I guess I need to move this. Good thing I didn't press it on real hard. There, that's better. So that'll go something like that. And let's see if we can find the mistletoe. Because the sample shows a little bit of mistletoe in there too. So that's going to be fun. So here's the mistletoe sheet. I'm just going to cut this off of here. And then instead of doing another sentiment, I'm going to just put this fa la 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 on the front of there. And fa la 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 la. There's not enough la las. I'll just have to cut out more la la las. So we'll do a little fussy cutting here too, but this is just going to kind of be loosely fussy cut. Somebody figure out how many la la la's I need. Oops. I guess I don't need that fa. I'm trying to sing the song in my head, but it's not working so good. Now, if this is not a test of my fussing cutting skills, I don't know what is. There's a lot of up and down around going on here. That wasn't too bad. Hopefully it wasn't too painful to watch. So I need 7, okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go here. And we'll make another one. So this will be 2 more. So then I think I need 1 more. La 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 la. So that last little la will end up being on its own. It was easier with the slightly bigger piece, I think, because I had a little bit more to hold on to. It helps to have a little something to hold on to. All right, so I need 1 more la. Better sign it after you cut. Or sing it, yeah. I might need some more, we'll see. Seems like there's more than 7, but for our purposes for tonight's card, it'll be fine with what we have here. The smaller these pieces get, the more difficult it is to fussy cut them, though, I'll tell you that. And because it's dark and my one light bulb burnt out, all right, so fa la 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 la. I think I might need 1 more because that would be 8. But we're going to stop at 7 for right now because that was not very good singing. All right, so this will go here. And we can put our fa la 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 la's on here. And I'll probably trim these just a little bit nicer when I have a better light bulb. Yeah, I went to turn it on just before my live and it went pop. I was not expecting it to burn out. All right, but this will be close enough. All right, so let's find the old mistletoe here and do a little bit more. And this, like I said, I am casing this out of the examples that Stampin' Up! Has provided. And when I'm working with something new, sometimes I need a little inspiration, so I might copy and slightly edit a card. And sometimes I'll just start cutting and laying out and seeing what comes out of my head. So sometimes I just work on my own, and sometimes I kind of copy and build off of that inspiration. So this one, I was scrolling through some of the things and I thought, that's really cute. I'm gonna work with that. Almost done with this little piece. All right, so we'll pop this maybe, I don't know if I want under or over the hoop. And then we'll do one more little piece here. And we'll decide if it's too much or just right. Because my card is a little bit big, busier because of the fa la las. That's not the sentiment that is on the sample. So I have slightly edited the design to work with the fa la 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 las. So Mama Juju, when you're doing your lives and you're doing your junk journaling, are you starting and ending a project the same night, or is it a continuation? Or does it depend? Because it seems like with the junk journaling, you could really take some time with that depending on how many pages you put in it. I think that will go down there, and I think this one will go up here. And then I think some cherry cobbler ribbon might be in order, but that means I'm going to have to color it because, so it does depend. Okay. Let me find the ribbon I want. We will do this beige. And I'm going to do my little knot thing, I think, tonight. Again. As soon as I get my ribbon fed back through here where it needs to be. It fell out. I guess I'll have to play with that later. I thought it was going to go back in there a little bit easier than it did. There, I think I'm getting it. Nope, it doesn't want to comply. I'll have to do that later. All right, so let me get my cherry cobbler Stampin' Blends. And let's color some ribbon. I'm gonna move that over. We're gonna get some scrap here. we're going to color. So how big do some of your junk journals get as far as like how thick they are? I suppose that probably depends on whatever theme it is you're working on. And maybe there's not really a theme. Does each set of pages, you know, where you've got it open, is that one theme, and then when you flip the page, is that a different theme? Or does the theme kind of run throughout the whole book? So I'm going to use the light on one side. We're going to see if it shows very much different between light and dark. Well, we could have tried to do it just half and half. So the same theme throughout the whole book. Okay. So we're just gonna air dry this a little bit. And I think I'm gonna have to color the other side because it's not gonna look, that's gonna look too casual, I think, for that. So let me get the dark, and I'm gonna color the other half and see if there's really that much difference when we're doing ribbon. So it doesn't look very different from here. So I think I'm going to have a snack before I go to bed. I'm feeling a little hungry. When I used to be an EMT and I would have calls in the middle of the night, wouldn't matter what time we were, we could have been asleep and then get the tones for a call, and then when you wrap up the call, I'd be starving for a meal. It wouldn't matter when I last ate, when I'd be eating again. I was just always hungry after a call. All right, I'm back. So let's just do something here. So this is about 11.5 inches. I just want to see if we could make it shorter. I've always just kind of cut a strip and don't really pay a whole lot of attention. But I think what I'm going to do here too is I'm going to try to make this knot a little flatter. So that it's on the front really flat. We'll see. I might be overthinking it. That looks kind of nice. So then, let's move this out of the way, and the fa la la will move over. And actually, so 11.5 was pretty good. You could probably do 11, but I think I'd rather have the extra tail to put on the back side. So I'm going to scooch these all over. I am going to put some of our snail adhesive here. And then I'm going to reinforce that with some tear and tape, just like I've done the other nights recently. I probably don't need it, but I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and have the ribbon fall off. Okay. And then we're going to put Stampin' Seal, I think, all the way around here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use these pieces, since I'm doing it flat, and I'm going to have those help hold this in place. Now, since this is the same, since this is the same size, I'm going to stand these up so that they're flush to the bottom, and then I can guide them up, and they should be flush to the sides as well. And then this, we're going to put some tear and tape down here, I think. Hopefully this will work. Because I want that hoop to be stuck on there. All right, let's try this hoop. And I think I'm actually gonna lift it up a little bit more so it's a little higher on the top than it would be on the bottom. And then these, we'll see where those are gonna lay. And we'll put this over here. Maybe I should put this up here a little bit more and move these over to see where my dimensionals are. Looks like the backing came off of that one. It's sticking. It did, it's right there. It got stuck on my tear and tape. My seal, whatever I put on there, seal, I guess. Alright, so these will lay around here. This little mistletoe will come down here. I guess that's kind of big mistletoe actually, but it's kind of fun. And then our fa la 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 la's, whoops, don't lose one, will come down here. I need one more. You might have been hearing me whisper sing. All right. What do you think of that one? So that'll be card number 2. So there's the first one where we played with that sentiment there. Here we're playing with a sentiment again. I probably could have moved that whole thing up there so we had a little bit more space, but I think what I want to do, let me get my snips. I'm going to cut this out. So we're going to go, I could do fa la 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 la, la, la la, la, la. I just have to find more la la's here. One more la. All right, so we'll cut that out there. What do you think of the words at the top and the bottom? Does that work? And I'm just trying to cover up the hoop a little at the bottom there so that it's kind of wreath-ish. Mistletoe can go there, and then fa la 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 la. All right, and then I just wanted to play with a little sampling of coloring. I'm not going to do a whole nother card, but I was looking at some of this paper and thought it might work if we did some coloring. So I'll cut these out better, and I'll probably have those kind of in line here so it looks balanced to me. And I may color some rhinestones to put them on there. We'll see. But like here, we could color, oh, I want the brush end. We could color these leaves. And I'm using the light old olive here. I think that's my old olive, yep. And then we'll use the dark old olive. And we're gonna add some color here. And if you want to blend, when things are still kind of on the wet side. And if you just want to do some shading afterwards, you can do that when it's dry. So it does seem to, I play with these. Sometimes I do the dark first and then the light, and it doesn't seem like it really matters. But like here, I think because I did the light first and then added the dark and then went back over it with the light, it gives it a very nice blend. So let's just cut this one out quick. I should have probably tried to find a smaller sprig, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and fussy cutting doesn't quite kill me. It's just not my favorite thing. And I can't wrap my head around the people that say it's relaxing for them. I mean, it's not necessarily stressful for me, but I wouldn't say it's relaxing. Mama Juju, do you fussy cut a lot of stuff for your junk journals? I have a brother scan and cut, but I don't pull it out and use it as often as I should, because there always seems to be a learning curve because I don't use it that often. And it almost seems like it takes me longer than it would if I was just going to fussy cut some things. Almost done. So this is not for the faint of heart. All right, so let's say we wanted to add another little splash of color. We could do it there instead of just having the black. I think I like the black on this one, but I like having that extra color on there. So I think I will save that for another card. And then there's, so let's look at something like this. Okay, so you have to do a lot of fussy cutting for the collage. Fussy cussing. That's pretty much it, right? So this one I thought you could kind of turn it into a plaid. For another card just by coloring this in. And you wouldn't have to color a lot to make an impactful statement. And you can see I'm using the side of that brush tip. So just like that. It changes the whole look of the paper. I probably didn't need to go all the way to the end there. But I think I'll hang on to this and make another card with this. It's kind of fun. So that piece would be colored too if we were going to go with the pattern. So very different look, but I think that would be fun. So that would be one where maybe just having it colorized would be a nice touch. And then let's, now remember I did blending brushes on some of these probably last week or so. And then there's another piece. I'm just going to cut off a little swatch here. So let's say we had a piece like this, and this would be fun colored too. But I had looked at this paper and saw, okay, if I go and I could do kind of a fun little thing, like those could stay there, but I could use different colors to do these layers and it would look like a Christmas tree to me. So maybe like every third one. This I think is, yep, Granny Apple Green. So this is light Granny Apple Green. But how simple of a tree is that? Looks like this tip is wearing out a little bit. I didn't think I'd use this color that much, but when I have my brushes out, or the blending pens out for my classes, sometimes I get a little abused. So let's do that. Let's do some light mossy metal, see what that does. And again, what a different look, because when I first saw this paper, and I'm thinking of you know, when it was just the white. Different body parts came to mind. We'll just say that. And I don't know that that's really what I would want somebody to see when they're looking at my cards, you know? If their warped sense of humor is similar to mine or not. So then let's see, what else do I have here? Granny apple green, what's this one? Dark granny apple green. Let's do some old olive, I guess. We'll do dark old olive. And I purposely did those colors in the same section because I wanted a little blending. So Mama Juju, are you seeing the same things that I could potentially see? Without the extra color there. It could be a little distracting. All right, so let's do, I don't want dark. I don't remember what colors I use now. Light old olive, maybe? I think that might have been light old olive, huh? Or was that the light granny apple green? I guess that's a little darker. And then if you put a couple layers, it's gonna get a little darker anyway. Now I don't even really have to be that careful with filling these in because it's just gonna blend with the next row anyway. So I think that kind of makes a fun little tree. Now I could do it where, you know, it's got the white backdrop and that becomes more of a focal point even. So I don't know. But I think I'll do some other cards with these. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back on and do some of those. But I'll have a little work to do on these so that I get all of these things attached how I want them to. I've got the inside piece there. But I also want to wait for the rest of the suite to come so that I can use the sentiments potentially that are on there, on that stamp set. So, all right, I'm going to call it quits for tonight. It is not quite 20 after 1 in the morning here, so I should probably get a little bit of sleep so that I can get up and enjoy Labor Day and not do anything. So thank you for popping in, Mom and Juju, hanging in there with me. Enjoy the rest of your morning. And I'll see you if you pop in what, about 22, 23 hours. So until next time, thanks everybody who popped in. Happy crafting.